What's up, everybody? Welcome to Podcast Demastered, episode 103. I am dubbing this episode the Destiny 2 Super Duper Spectacular Extravaganza Special Show. Woo!
Shut the fuck up. Literally no one else decided to call it that. This is a group effort.
I put it in the group notes and none of you guys changed it. That makes it official.
I could put a lot of shit in the group notes and I wouldn't expect it to be said on here.
What makes it official is me copying it into Libsyn right before it goes up.
Yeah. So, episode 103. I'm your host, Joe. As always, I'm joined by Charlie.
How's it going, Tom?
It's an ass hair afternoon, Charlie. You should take a look at your wallet there.
He brought it over.
I thought you were going to say something else.
You should take a look at your wallet right there.
Is that my dollar that's on the table?
Yes, this is your
I
money.
had $1 in my wallet?
You had $2 in your wallet.
I had $2 in my wallet?
I put something else in there.
Oh, God, you put something into it?
I put something else
I was just giving the money.
Something else into your wallet.
You didn't put anything. You took all my fucking cards, you goddamn asshole. Where are they?
To find them, you must solve my riddles 3.
There was a lot more than 3 cards.
That's how you gotta find them all.
Should we? Oh, there's one. This is
So
actually
that's
the only one I care about.
Health insurance.
That one too. So that one's important.
Roadside assistance.
That
A
might
Shell
need-
gas gift
Once
card.
I hit 10,000 miles on my car, this won't mean anything.
A Buffalo Wild Wings MVP
I
gift
need
card.
to go there because I have $25
it's a good
to
idea.
Buffalo Wild Wings.
So do I.
You want to go to Buffalo Wild Wings?
When?
I wouldn't be
I will.
opposed to
If
going to
you
Buffalo
don't,
Wild Wings.
I'm down to just throw $25 in, and we can have ourselves a wang. We can have a French fry and maybe a beer.
Can we do this next Monday?
Oh, fine.
Because I also have a gift card.
You're no fun.
I'm sorry.
So why don't you use your gift card now?
What? Because it's
Tonight,
at home.
after the show.
Because it's at home.
Fucking.
Oh, God.
Don't they
You're
got
fucking
one of these things
spoiling
down that
everything.
way now? They got a Buffalo Wild Wings on every side of Route
You
9.
live 2 minutes away.
I live like 10, 15
But
minutes
can I-
away.
Fandango.
Yeah, okay, we're still going through Charlie's
New
life.
Jersey
Here's the
State
thing
driver's
about
license?
the Fandango card, right?
Yes.
You go online, you go to fandango.com, you try to buy a fucking movie ticket.
Okay.
You go on, you pick your seat, your movie, your time. You type in your Fandango card. They say, oh, if it starts in 6006, redeem this at the theater. I go to the theater. The fucking bitch at the counter says, you need to go online to fandango.com. So I'm like, I don't know how to fucking use this
It's
gift
confusing. I had one too. I had the same issue.
That's weird. I got Escape Theater.
College card.
Movie tickets.
card. Okay.
Visa debit card.
Is that around the country, Escape?
No,
or?
it has like 8 locations when you go on their website.
Okay.
But they make it very easy. There's no pain like what you just described.
Yeah.
Trying to buy movie
I
tickets.
might be going to Escape tomorrow.
I
Guitar
like
Center gear card.
yeah, which doesn't work.
And sir,
by the
are
way.
you saving 5% today and every day by opening up a Target Red card?
Oh, God, that hurts so much. that line.
The phone was on. Are you guys?
I'm good. All my cards are back
All
in my
your cards
wallet
are back.
now.
All right.
Brand representative, you should sign up for a Target Red card to save 5% today and every day. Not paid. Hashtag paid by Target. Not paid by Target.
Hashtag ad. Tom,
Yeah.
you played something interesting this week.
Oh boy, I
You
played
probably
something
played the
good.
big release last week. So
It was a big release. Let me tell you.
why don't you tell us what you were playing this week? Or tell us how bad it was. Tell us how horrible.
Joe only wants to hear how bad
this
it was.
game with fucking hashtag lazy developers.
Exactly.
Fucking Xbox is the best.
No.
Fucking hashtag lazy devs.
Yeah.
Shit game. I fucking hate video games. Instead of playing video games, I just like talking about how bad they are on the internet. I'm fucking
Goddamn right.
ProCat. Here's my video. Look at look at how shitty these games are.
tell 'em.
Oh man, fucking
video
hate
was
video
funny.
games.
Isn't it Crobcat?
Oh, I thought it was Crobat.
But oh my god, Destiny 2, day 1, hashtag day 0, buy the DLC. Okay, done with that. Y'all a bunch of fucking hypocrites is the point I'm trying to get at.
Absolutely.
Okay, Mass Effect Andromeda is a game I like quite a bit.
That's good.
I think, I honestly don't think it's a bad game by any means. I think where it's successful is that it's a very good Mass Effect game, but I think it's a by the numbers, almost not by the numbers, but like very safe RPG to come out in 2017.
Okay.
Especially when you, after coming off of games that do feel like they were at least going in areas that were trying something new, like Nier, even Horizon to an extent, especially hearing about Zelda. Mass Effect feels like maybe the safest of the bunch.
Okay.
But I don't think that's a bad thing necessarily, just maybe a little pedestrian, more so than some people were hoping for. I will say, though, the technical things, I totally understand where people are coming from. That it feels like this game could have maybe used another 5 to 6 months in the oven before they popped it out. But to reiterate what I said, like, I think the Mass Effect parts are very good. Like, to me, as someone who loves Mass Effect, I talk so much about how much I just adore the first game, and I love 1 and 2, 2 and 3 quite a bit as well, maybe 3 to a lesser extent. The parts where I am walking around the Tempest and talking with my crew, and then going to the Nexus, which is this game's version of the Citadel, and doing missions on the Nexus and getting to know the people on the Nexus, those are the parts I'm really enjoying. The parts where I feel it kind of falters are when you touch down on a planet. Now, it's ironic because the thing I always bemoaned about Mass Effect 2 and 3 was it lost the big open planets that 1 had to explore. So it's ironic that in Mass Effect Andromeda, a game that brings this back to the forefront, I'm almost a little bummed out by it because it feels, not only does it feel like it lost some focus, but it feels like it lost what made those big barren planets in the first game so special. And what made those special was that you land on this planet and there was nothing. There wasn't a waypoint, nothing of that nature. You just drove until maybe you found something cool. And maybe you'd run into a Thresher Maw, maybe you'd run into a base. And yeah, it was the same copy-paste base from 15 other planets, but it was cool because each planet had its own little story that wasn't told you explicitly. You had to actively go and find this stuff. You had to find little data pads. You had to find these bases, and you'd find little bits of lore and some stuff that had to happen on these planets, and that was interesting. There was no music. It was quiet. It was empty. Like, it felt very barren and mysterious, and it was something that I felt like kind of elevated the first game. In Mass Effect Andromeda, it's very different because in Mass Effect Andromeda, you land on these planets, but then it turns into a 2016, 2017 open world game. So the waypoint appears on the map. Here are where all the enemy bases are. Here are all the quest givers waiting to give you a fetch quest. And it totally takes away from that sense of atmosphere and like that sense of
like being alone on a planet in space.
I'm going somewhere that very few other people have been before that the first game had. And that's why I think the first game was almost better with the open planets. I almost think Andromeda would have been better if it was paced maybe a little more like 2 and 3, where the planets that house side missions were just the mission. There was no planet to explore.
Yeah.
And the main missions were the mission, where just, planets you go to do the main missions. And then the social spaces, like kind of like Omega and Mass Effect 2 or the Citadel in 2 or 3 were there. And this game has those as planets like that that's only purpose is to act as social spaces. Those are there too. I almost feel like it would have been better if it was a little smaller in scope, but it almost loses its steam when, say, you're really enjoying your time on the Tempest, getting to know your crew. Say like, Drac, the Krogan, just gave you a mission, and it's his loyalty mission, which is something the game brings back, and they're actually very good.
Great.
Yeah, and you're like, oh fuck, I'm so excited to go do this. But then you land on the planet to go do it, and the waypoint is there, but you're driving past 15 other objective markers, and here's an enemy base that the game wants you to veer off the beaten path to go take out, and it's like you don't really want to do that. You just kind of want to go do the mission.
Get this thing done.
Which is why I think Mass Effect 2 handled it maybe a little more gracefully. Now that being said, the side missions are very hit or miss. A lot of them are very fetch questy. A lot of them are smaller, which is really just you have to go talk to a person, then run back and talk to someone else. Yeah, and that's fine. Yeah. But the loyalty missions are still very good. I'm still enjoying them, and they're a lot bigger in scope. So depending on how far you are in the story, you'll do the first part of a loyalty mission, and then it will say on hold. And then it'll be on hold until you unlock the next planet where you can do the rest of it.
Okay.
But basically makes it so that you can stack loyalty missions. So you can work on several at a time and kind of finish them throughout the game while you're going through the main story. And that's primarily how I've been playing, where I haven't really been focusing on many of the other side quests except for the loyalty missions because they are so interesting. And, that goes with the fact that I feel that your crew on the Tempest, your party, is just as interesting, if not more interesting, than any of the characters in Mass Effect 1, 2, or 3.
So that great writing is still there.
People have bemoaned some of the writing, and I could totally see that. There are a few lines that are just like, what were you thinking when you wrote this? Primary example is that one lady who says, my face is tired at the beginning of the game.
But what RPG doesn't,
Exactly. But outside of that, I really do feel like there's some good writing here and some good characters. A very interesting crew you have with you. PB is the Asari, and she's really interesting. She's unlike any of the other Asari you meet in Mass Effect because the Asari are kind of very dour, very serious.
Yeah.
And she's like Liara in the sense that she's very interested in like remnant technology, which is Andromeda's versions of the Protheans, basically.
Okay.
But she's also really bubbly and spontaneous, and we'll just say shit that's just really funny and unexpected. Like, she was talking about the matriarchs, the Asari matriarchs. If you know anything about Mass Effect, you know they're very important. And she called them a bunch of old biddies, and I thought that was really funny.
That's awesome.
Yeah. So like I said, the crew is very well rounded out. One aspect that's kind of disappointing me is I feel like they almost lost an opportunity. It's set in Andromeda, and if you kind of like know anything, if you watch a TED Talk, watch Neil deGrasse Tyson or Cosmos, you understand the concept that if you were to go to Andromeda or another galaxy, things would be completely different. Time would be conceived completely differently. So it's a little disheartening to go to Andromeda and talk to, I'm not going to spoil them, but one of the new races introduced to you, and they refer to time in months or days.
Yeah.
And they're using words and they're speaking in English and using, like American slang, basically.
Yeah.
And in a way, you're kind of like, I totally get why this is like this. But at the same time, it feels like a missed creative opportunity to do something cool and make the Andromeda, galaxy feel really unique. Because as of right now, it doesn't. These planets feel like planets that could have totally existed in the Milky Way. Besides a few big glowy mushrooms here or there, or like environmental hazards. Another thing that was kind of annoying is the character creator sucks. So starting this game, I made a character.
Male or female?
Male.
Okay.
After a while, it took me a while to make him because to finally get someone who I thought looked right. And then I go into the game and he looked terrible. His chin was like attached to his neck, and I'm like, oh god,
what have
so
I created?
I restarted. Do it again, play the prologue again with a new character I made, then look at him in motion for a little bit. I'm like, oh god, he looks fucking terrible too.
They don't look anything like they did when you created them in the close-up view?
In motion, it all looks different.
Really?
So finally,
interesting.
third time, I was like, fuck it. I just went with the standard Scott Ryder that they give you.
That guy looks like a bunch of other people.
He's based off a model, I think.
Okay.
Similar to the first Commander Shepard in the first game, the base Commander Shepard. But honestly, if you can get good with this character creator and make a good looking character, I would love to see you do it.
I've always wanted to try that, but it always just turns into madness.
It feels like it's so lacking. It feels like your options are so limited. There's not a lot of hairstyles, not a lot of colors.
Jaw size.
You can't really fine adjust those to the point that you would like to, and it really just leaves you with these oddball looking kind of doofus characters. And honestly, I feel like it was better off to just go with the standard character that they give you, which sucks because in Mass Effect, in all the times I played the Mass Effect trilogy, I always created a new Commander Shepard.
Oh yes, I was one of those.
I always had the one I
felt like they gave you like good tools to do it.
Yeah, they did. I would make one guy I liked, and I'd always make that one dude again. But it was never stock Shepard.
Yeah. See, I always stuck with the stock stuff. That's my biggest disappointment, just looking at it from the outside looking in. And even when I went to go play the trial, was I always liked for a while I played as male Shep, and then eventually discovered the goodness of female Shepard. So when I jumped into this one, I wanted to play as Sarah Ryder. That's her name, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Sarah Ryder, and I just don't. I think that's the stock of face. Just looks off to me for her, so I went to go customize it, and I had almost the same thing you had, where I made one. I was like, "Oh, this one looks good."
And it never quite looks right.
And in motion, when she was talking, I was like, "This isn't what I was expecting," but okay. I had that same. Just from like I said, from the outside looking in, that's my biggest problem. Is just the all the character creative faces I've seen, even the standard stock ones, to me still just look. Even the standard male, I feel like still.
I think he looks fine.
He looks better than Sarah, I think. But I think that's just because I think Sarah is extremely you have
to remember, Sarah was kind of made with the tools. The male was based off a model. They scanned a model for the male. Sarah was literally, they just created that face. So there was a keen difference there.
I wonder why they would do that.
I don't know. It's weird. And I almost wish they gave you the option to, select as a preset the stock male rider and then customize from there, but they don't. When you go to customize, they give you a whole different set of presets that none of them look like how I'd want them to look. So I don't mind using the stock guy. It's not ideal, but it's also not killing my experience totally. I don't like that they took away a few options. So one of the things I love about Mass Effect is I always play as a biotic, so I love bringing up the power wheel and chaining my abilities with Liara's abilities, with Garrus's abilities, and chaining those together to take down harder enemies that have harder shields, and being able to do it strategically, being able to select what you want them to do. They completely remove that, and you now no longer have
voice control.
No, you now no longer have a power wheel. You're allowed to select 3 abilities and then assign them to hotkeys.
Okay.
So you have those 3 abilities, and then those are the only ones you can use at the fly. And if you want to change it out, you have to go into the pause menu and change it out that way.
Okay.
But you all have absolutely no control over your squad mates. So sometimes if you're lucky, you'll say I use throw. And if I use throw, sometimes if I'm lucky, PB will go and use push, and that will, be a good biotic combination. It'll take out a few
throw
enemies.
slam combo, like stuff like that. Was a lot of fun.
But basically, like if I want to do any of that, I have to do it myself because it relies on the AI for the AI to see you using these powers and to react accordingly.
Yeah.
But they just don't.
So I'm sorry. Like those commands can include like those hotkeys. They can include your power and your squad.
No,
Just
you have absolutely
yours?
no control over your squad,
okay.
which
Jeez,
is my biggest annoyance because that's what I love doing in the other Mass Effect
Yeah.
game was combining all of our powers. And then finding a group of 1 or 2 squad mates that you like using because of the way they worked with each other. In Andromeda, it doesn't really feel like it makes a difference which squad mates it brings with you. Like it feels like it's not really going to drastically affect the outcome of the combat.
I remember going on certain missions and being I always kind of had my crew, but every once in a while I would mix it up because of something. And it always kind of gave you an idea of like, oh, your crew is like full out combat or has like some biotic.
Obviously, for certain loyalty missions, like you should probably bring along the character that you're helping out. But yeah, I mean, I know I'm dragging a little with this, but overall, I like the game. To me, it's more Mass Effect, and that's really what's drawing me in is the Mass Effect-ness of it. But it does have a ton of problems, and I think a lot of its problems come from adhering to kind of a safe by the numbers open world RPG formula, which I'm sure kind of EA maybe pushed just to kind of appeal to a broader audience. Like I said, I almost would have rather, for as much as I love Mass Effect 1, I almost would have rather them done something more similar to 2 or 3, where it was a little smaller in scope, a little more linear.
It was
a
tight.
little more controlled. Yeah.
I think the reaction to 3 clearly, I mean,
yeah.
But the reaction to 2 was great.
No, I know, but I mean, just coming off 3, I mean, they were in a tough space with this game no matter what, especially because the old Mass Effect team essentially is working on the new IP. And then this team was kind of brought in to make Mass Effect again. And over the past few weeks, you heard a lot about creative directors coming in and leaving and coming in again and leaving again. And like making it very weird. I do feel bad for this dev team because everything that you hear about it sounds like it was kind of a mess for a while.
And also to reiterate, I don't think this is a bad game at all.
No.
I just think some of it's very by the numbers.
Yeah. And I think like I was talking to someone and they were like, oh, it was like they should have just delayed it. I was like, well, you got to remember. I was like, EA has given this team 5 years. Yeah. So I mean, like it's not like they were forced to push something out in 2 years. Now, granted, like, we're not developers or anything, but it like I do feel for them because I think switching to Frostbite was a hurdle, and I think like having to worry about having 3 behind you the entire time just has to dawn on you.
Yeah,
because that fan reaction, I think that fan reaction has just carried over into this Mass Effect. Even like, you're right, you can see the videos online of it being all busted, and I find that funny as fuck. But
I find it funny, but honestly, I've never seen anything as bad as I've seen online.
And you never do.
While I'm
no,
playing.
it's always like the
Assassin's Creed Unity
where
thing,
you saw the face all fucked up. Like 0.1% of players like actually saw that.
Yeah.
But so like I do feel for them, but also like maybe they shouldn't have worried so much about what the vocal minority were saying about 3, because I think like I look back on 3 and like I didn't like the ending, but I remember enjoying
overall
playing the game.
I enjoyed where that was going. I mean,
3.
I think 3 has a ton of flaws,
but it's not just a piece of
I still enjoyed my time
piece of
with
garbage that everyone likes
but
to
also
call.
I think that stems to the fact that it is Mass Effect, and I just like being in that universe, and I like the Mass Effect parts of it, which is why one of the reasons, despite its flaws, I'm enjoying Andromeda. In fact, if I were to rank it, I would go 1, 2, Andromeda 3. I think
seems about right.
In my opinion, I think Andromeda is a better game than Mass Effect 3 is, or a better Mass Effect game than Mass Effect 3 is. But to me, it's just lacking certain elements that I would come to expect, like villains, for example. It doesn't, I mean, so far I'm like maybe 20 something hours in, and I've been doing a few side things, so it's halted some of my story progress. But I feel like I've yet to see a villain that matches Saren or the looming threat of the Reapers. Like, I feel like I haven't seen anything on that scale.
That was, to me, the greatest part about 2 was that, like,
final shot.
Yeah, it was like the final shot, and just like how much everything was on the line.
Yeah.
All the time. It felt like it was just it had a great sense of what's the word? Just like
urgency.
Struggle and urgency.
Yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it for me. I did buy A Night in the Woods.
Okay. I saw you put that in there,
I bought it like 2 nights ago, 2 Night in the Woods ago. And basically, because I've been busy playing Mass Effect, I just haven't got, like, I think the most I played was like maybe 5 minutes.
Okay.
It seems like a game I'm really going to dig. I can't wait to actually put some more time into it. I know Kingdom Hearts is coming out tomorrow, so I'm probably going to put more time into that as well. Yeah.
Okay, jeez.
I'm excited. I haven't played those games in 11 years. I'm excited.
Never played them. I didn't even know.
But yeah, that's... Oh, I also want to mention something really quick. Now, this isn't really so much of a gaming thing, but have you guys ever, like... I feel like we watch a lot of movies that are, like, just kind of fun popcorn movies, and maybe we're a little too critical of them. Maybe we're just like, oh, this Avenger wasn't as good as this Batman.
Sure.
And I feel like we kind of get caught up in that. But I feel like every once in a while you need to sit down and, like, watch a film. And you want to talk about the difference between, like, movie and film?
Yeah. Like, I would consider... I don't know now, don't harbor me, but like maybe I'm trying to draw the comparison. Like The Revenant might be like a film.
Yes, 100%.
As compared to like The Avengers as a movie.
Like Dirty Grandpa is a film.
Fucking the highest value of art.
I love Dirty Grandpa.
But I don't mean to sound like a
you're
pretentious
definitely
douche,
right.
but like one of my favorite books and movies is To Kill a Mockingbird.
Okay.
And I haven't watched that movie in years, not since I was in high school, but it was on Netflix, so I took the time to sit down and watch it again, and man, what a good fucking movie for something that was made in
film.
What a good film for something that was made in 1965 in black and white to still hold up the way it does today, and to still have someone like Gregory Peck just have this fucking imposing, impending screen presence is fucking incredible. Like, I really get why that's held as one of the best movies of all time. But yeah, that's it for me.
Oh, that's good. I was looking forward to hearing about Andromeda. Because I guess I'm just
Did
gonna go.
Yeah, I was gonna let
Fuck
you
you,
were gonna
Joe.
go next. No, that's the
plan.
That was the plan. Yeah. Now I'm gonna go. No.
Do you guys have any other questions about Andromeda? Did I describe everything
I'm just
fully?
really trying to figure out what I want to do with that game because
I'm on the same boat.
I mean, what I would say is if you really like Mass Effect, it's absolutely worth your time. If you're so on Mass Effect, maybe getting burnt out on kind of like how formulaic a lot of the open world RPGs and open world games have gotten.
How much time do you have?
Maybe ignore it. Like 22 hours.
Jesus Christ, Tom. I'm just jealous of your ability to do that.
It's not healthy. I stay awake a lot of nights till 3, 4 in the morning.
God. So in my attempt to be like you, I
don't be like me.
Don't you be like me.
I spent an entire night playing Horizon, and like I'm sorry I'm talking about it for like the 3rd week in the row or whatever, but like if I'm gonna play something, I need it to be that game. And all I wanted to find was something funny or something weird, something that in a game that seems like it takes every bit of it very seriously, something Witcher status, you know?
Yeah.
Like I would start down a path and I would just go hard like this way, like walking up. I like walked around a mountain. Like I just walked up a mountain. I started jumping on any rock that I could land on and seeing if there was like, you know, any hint of personality in this world that is just, like I said.
Do you feel like it's devoid of personality?
I do. I really do. And like,
interesting.
Yeah, like, and that's not to say like characters are not, because they definitely do, and the voice acting is okay, and you know, there's a billion bits of coverage about it, but I'm just trying to find that personality in the environment. And it's just, it feels dry. It's like a very dry game.
It's almost funny because I feel like there's a lot of personality there. I think even like looking at just the concept of these robot dinosaurs and how beautiful the environment is.
Yeah.
But I kind of get what you're saying,
right?
To an extent.
Because I did no quests or anything. Like really, I was just running through forests and looking around mountains and just trying to find stuff.
I think the more I look back on it, the more I realized that the world was there to service the quests rather than the world being there to serve as a big, interesting world that draws you in and makes you want to explore.
Definitely. And that was kind of disappointing. So now I'm gonna streamline. I'm gonna go right through the story, beat the game, and then decide if I want to start Mass Effect or not. Because I kind of do.
See, what you just described sorry. What you just described is like exactly like I'm thinking I was like, maybe you should have gotten Zelda on Wii U that week.
Yeah.
Like it
does, I keep seeing Zelda on Wii U.
It does offer that type of kind of like search and mystery that you just described of wanting to walk in one direction, and it might not be something big, but you might, like I said, climb onto a hill and just see a bunch of fucking people there talking about flowers and obsessing about flowers like goddamn psychopaths.
You're actually probably definitely
or like
right.
a shrine, or like there's a bunch of like weird stuff like
I think that should be your next game.
You know what? I think it's gonna be. I think I'm gonna pick up Breath of the Wild for Wii U.
Yeah, because I like based on what you just described right there, like I think that's
A perfect fit.
yeah.
I think if
Definitely.
you were to, with everything you just described about Horizon, I think if you were to go to Mass Effect Andromeda, you would have the exact same issues.
That's what I'm thinking. That's why I'm kind of upset too, because I do love Mass Effect, you know? So that's a shame. But in other news, I visited my Xbox.
Oh, how's it doing?
And the Wii U. I'm going to bring it back the next time I go over there.
Yeah.
It's doing well. My friend, I am terrified.
How's your current box? Was she okay with the visit?
God damn it. I'm scared to check the playtime on it because all my friend does is play Gears 4.
Online.
Like, since it's been there online for months. And so like I went over, I played a little bit of Gears, man. I'm so out of that thing.
Got
It's
rusty.
crazy.
You don't miss it?
But dude, he's like playing Blood Drive, and he's playing
What's
like
Blood Drive?
Blood Drive is an
map.
amazing Gears 2 map.
Oh, I thought
And-
it was a game. I
No.
wasn't sure.
And so they've got a ton of great stuff back in there, but I'm just so far removed now.
Yeah, I think they've been updating maps for free, if I'm correct.
Yeah, it's all like so.
Yeah.
If you have the
Thank
season
God for loot
pass,
crates.
if you have the season pass, you have a special playlist that you can play with developers,
Oh,
and
okay.
on those maps you play with the maps that are coming in the next free update.
Oh,
that's
that's cool.
So yeah, but I also play a little bit of Skate 3. You know, I'll
Kinda-
always
kinda jump
love
back into
Skate.
Skate 3.
Yeah, I'll always love.
Do you
that
think you
game.
want your Xbox back after
Really
playing around on it?
The whole point of it being there, even though I still have a shit ton of games on my PS4, is to limit the games I have.
Yeah.
And so I just I'm fine. I'm at a good balance. I'm at a good balance, and I don't have a problem with it being there. If there's something I really want on Xbox, maybe I'll go pick it up. But I'm probably gonna actually bring back my Wii U.
Yeah, you're probably good for the
play.
Xbox till like the fall, probably.
Yeah.
So
I was actually just thinking about like, what are they gonna do at E3 this year? What's gonna be there?
Scorpio,
Scorpio.
Crackdown, Sea of Thieves, probably announce.
something new?
Yeah.
What do you
Probably
think
Halo.
about-
I could see
I
Halo
can see
6.
a Halo 6 teaser.
Yeah.
Like that's gonna happen.
That's what I was
You know what's
thinking.
really funny?
But
Before today, I was every once in a while I'll go back and listen to like an old conversation, like a specific like topic of the week or something.
For us?
Yeah, of
Okay.
our show. So I actually went back and listened to the initial post Switch reveal.
Yeah.
Listen, and you were talking about like
Me?
yeah, you were talking
Okay.
about like speak with your wallet type thing, and you
Yeah.
brought up Halo,
Uh-huh.
and like that's what made me. Then I watched the Crobat, whatever his name is on YouTube, his Halo video. And I was like, damn, man.
I was
I'm like-
right.
Like, well, one, I think we all knew you were.
Yeah.
We all accepted that about the campaign, especially. But like, I really hope 343 gets it right with 6.
I think they.
Like,
I would. Because here's the thing, they're capable of making a good campaign. Force's campaign was very good
Yeah,
in
I
my
like
opinion.
four a lot.
Yeah, sure. I'll give you that.
I think 5. I actually think 5 had. I think 5 lacked narratively, but I think the general like levels and the missions were fun. Like I thought the stuff on the Elite Homeworld was really cool.
I
and-
would definitely agree with that, but and it's sad because you could see what they were doing, but I think if the narrative was
yeah.
much tighter, and not even in terms of what they fucking marketed,
Yeah.
but just if it had wrapped up all of its loose ends in a way that shocked you and surprised you and was like, and you thought that, wow, I can't believe this is happening.
Spoilers.
Even though,
Bringing Cortana back was
Yeah.
fucking stupid.
I mean, that whole thing was just. The payoff was not what it should have been, and
Yeah.
that's what was kind of
Yeah,
sad.
I agree.
To bring it to just briefly talk about Halo 5 for
I think it deserves at least 5 minutes in every one,
Yeah.
every
Yeah.
podcast we have.
But yeah, no, I think for E3, I think Microsoft has, if they nail with Scorpio, they're gonna have a very good
Yeah.
showing, especially like with third parties bringing. Oh, here's their 4K device. You know,
Yeah, right.
and all
We'll
that
see.
stuff. Was that all you did this
I'll
week?
probably buy one.
I did. I probably did a bunch of other stuff. I'm just not forgetting. I'm just not remembering. Yeah.
I actually played a lot this week. Got a
Did
lot
you?
of time into a lot of different things. First, I want to talk about Rocket League a little bit. They updated a new mode. It's called DropShot mode. If you are a fan of Rocket League, this is not a reason to go back to Rocket League. It's a really bad mode. It's like your traditional 3-on-3, but there's no goals. The goal is the floor. So you hit the ball. So like if I'm orange, I want to make the ball orange, but I want to land on the blue side of the field.
So
it takes away the floor.
Joe, when you hit the floor,
No,
next thing you know,
no.
did Rocket League get low?
Oh, jeez.
Low.
And it's
Legit question.
it's a really confusing mode because there's no actual strategy or skill to it like regular Rocket League.
Yeah.
It's just 6 people going fucking ape shit, crashing into each other, even your own teammates, because there's no way you can.
So it's bumper cars.
Essentially, that's what it feels like. It feels like bumper cars where a ball happens to be flying around because you can't. There's no strategy with one guy playing goal, one guy playing mid, and like or having 2 attack and like 2 on defense at all times. It's like there's no like communication at all between like you and your teammates. It's just a fucking clusterfuck, and it's a really poor mode. It's probably their weakest like additional mode that they've added in Rocket League, and that does kind of suck.
You know, it'd be cool if they just leaned hard into it and just put a wrestling mode in there that was just bumper cars, but the cars had intros and.
I keep talking about like I would love to see like them do like a special like a Mario Kart almost mode where you're racing, because they already have a game mode where you have powers with your cars and whatnot. So they're like one step removed from that. But yeah, this was a very poor outing, I thought, especially with like past modes like hoops and the Rumble, which was pretty good, and like the ice hockey one was fun for a while. Like it's definitely their weakest out there. I just don't know how much more they can try and really change without going into a full sequel, but I know they still make a shit ton of money on this game, so
it's a great
I want to
platform.
kind of
they're not going to
assume
make a sequel. But,
that Rocket League 2 is somewhat imminent.
I mean, the way they talk about it, they're still extremely profitable from one, and I don't think they want to split that market up.
Yeah.
Because they don't want like half the people sticking with one, because you're going to have those one purists that if they change a little bit, they're going to be like, well, fuck that, one's the better one. And then you don't want to have it like, because right now from any time, like you can see between 80,000 people playing at once to right now, because of the new mode and the new season and everything, it's up to like 150,000 people playing at once. And like, you don't want to see that split. You don't even want to see that 40 and 40. Like, it's just, I can see why they wouldn't do a sequel for a while. And it's still because every time there's new DLC, everyone buys new cars. You start that game, you see, like the latest was the Hot Wheels pack. Everyone's playing this fucking Hot Wheels cars. Even I fucking bought it. So I think they're still doing pretty well, like financially. So, but yeah, no.
That game is crazy to me. Like, I still can't believe you're so into it still.
Yeah, I know. And it's gonna be 2 years old this June. So,
good for them.
Yeah, like they
made a great game.
Yeah, they found success with it. Other games I played were a few titles on that old Switch.
Yeah, that you still pick that up.
Yeah, surprisingly, it's not
pick
dusty.
it up at the string that it hangs out your window by. Lift it out. Covered in bird shit.
I want to talk about I Am Setsuna, because I beat that this week. I never thought that game was boring. I really, really enjoyed it. I really like the story. I like the I talked a lot about what my feelings on it were last week, but actually like reaching the end, like I liked all the characters. I liked where the story went, and I think there was some like really interesting like kind of twists as you got closer to the end. I know where you stopped is probably like closer to like midway.
Yeah, I think it was about midway.
With the boss that you were on. I'm just trying to think about it in my head, but for someone who doesn't really play JRPGs, like I really had fun with this one.
I wish I liked that game more. I really wish I did.
Yeah, no, I think it's because it's so simple. That's why it like as like, you know, first like moving into JRPGs, I think it's a good one to
it's a great entry
to kind of
point,
jump onto. Like I was kind of, the one thing I was kind of disappointed to by the end was probably the fact that I found like I got my team. It was to the point where I never really over leveled, but like my team would crush regular enemies that I ran into, and then even bosses like weren't hard. It was just kind of a test of
patience.
Yeah, is a good way to describe it.
How many times can you heal, basically? Yeah,
it's basically like, all right, these two attack all the time. This one heals, and like my one character had a move where she would jump in the air to attack, so like I knew she was protected from attacks for an extra turn while I was getting hit. Like it was interesting. Like,
you just described a boss fight in Final Fantasy 13 for me that was 45 minutes of lightning attacking and Hope healing for like on loop, just repeat.
Oh jeez, that sounds horrible.
A lot of that game was horrible.
Yeah. No fight ever lasted more than like 10 to 15 minutes, I would say, in this game, which I think is a good time for like those, because I have a few other friends who are like describing like some end game bosses in JRPGs, and I was worried that I was going to get to the end of this one. It was going to be this like long like slog of a fight, and it is long because the final boss like self heals himself. So you had to deal with that, but the damage I was doing to him was much more effective than anything. The whole time I'm playing it makes me way more interested in Project Octopath Traveler.
Yeah, it looks great.
I went back and watched a trailer for that after I beat
Beautiful
I
art
Am
style.
Setsuna. Yeah, like that game looks really cool. I hope we see more about it at E3, I guess. Hopefully that would be interesting.
Well, I don't know if it's the same team, but I know Setsuna had like a year turnaround. So.
Yeah, this is the team that did Bravely Default, so it's not
Oh,
Tokyo
so yeah,
RPG.
it might take a little longer. But even the default team,
yeah,
they
did the sequel
work on a pretty quick schedule. Yeah.
So the other game I finally beat Shovel Knight. I beat that. Did you beat Shovel Knight, Tom?
No.
Or okay.
Joe, I think this is confirming you're better at games than I am.
Well, the end. I'm not crazy about the end of Shovel Knight. Like, there's like 3 stages, and I'm not there. One is a boss rush stage, essentially, where you kind of refight all the bosses again. And like, they're not particularly hard, but it's kind of obnoxious where you're just fighting them one after another. I never like that. Like boss rush, like endings are just never fun. And the final boss in particular is like, she has a set pattern, but it's also very annoying. Like, it's one of those games where I finished it and I was just like, I don't know if I even want to fucking play the 2 DLCs.
Yeah.
So then I jumped into the DLC because I have no self-control.
Because you need to play your Switch.
Well, no, because I wanted to play Shovel Knight. And I had a friend of mine telling me like, oh yeah, the Plague Knight DLC is fucking fantastic. I haven't played Spectre Knight though. Plague Knight is bad. Like,
yeah, I had heard it wasn't great.
Oh my God. I played like the first like 2 stages and I'm like, this is not fun. Like the weird, like you do this weird, like you can do like a triple jump.
Yeah.
But in order to do it, you need to throw a bomb and then hold the bomb button and then jump and then release the bomb button and you like explode in the direction you want to go.
So you're
in.
rocket jumping basically.
Essentially, but it doesn't feel good. And like he was explaining to me like how to do it properly, and I'm just like, this it shouldn't feel like this. Like it just feels off. And one Plague Knight is also, I thought, like one of the least interesting of the like the knights that you go after in the core game. So I was very confused why they even gave him that like story, because even the setup is just like he's bad, but has different. He doesn't want to be that bad, like as bad as the other guys. So now he's going to go after them. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like that.
Did you try Spectre Knight?
Yes.
You like it?
Yeah, that's the thing. Like Spectre Knight, I think is fucking fantastic. Spectre Knight's the newest one, but it's only available on Switch right now. It's not available on other devices yet. Like it launched like with Switch. It's going to be a free update if you own Shovel Knight already. Spectre Knight's the one I really like. I think I actually like it better than the core mode, just playing as him. Spectre Knight basically he has a scythe and it's like kind of slashing, but what you can do is you can like jump, and when you go to jump, if there's a like a lantern hanging, which a lot of levels have lanterns hanging, or like enemies flying by, you can slash through them and that propels you forward. And to me, that just makes the actual level navigation way more interesting and fun than even something I did in Shovel Knight with the shovel hop or something like that. Like Spectre Knight feels like such a fun, and it's telling a really good, like interesting story too, because it is a prequel to, it's not running alongside like Plague Knight is. It's telling an actual prequel, and the fact that it's just not a prequel, because usually I'm not fans of prequels. I just think sometimes they don't add anything. But the fact that you're playing as a different character in this actually makes it somewhat more interesting, finding out his backstory and
I think Shovel
what
Knight
happened to him.
I think Yakuza did a really good job making Shovel Knight's world really interesting.
It is.
And the lore around it.
Yeah, like the whole lore of like the Enchantress and taking over Shield Knight, and then like the little rivalry you have between Black Knight and Shovel Knight, like both kind of fighting for her love, but you really don't know who she like really adores more. It's really cool. I'm even though I didn't care for the ending of core Shovel Knight, I'm very excited to see where they go with a potential sequel. You always heard talks about them early on, that they always kind of wanted to do
Shovel
that.
Knight 64.
Yeah, do like a Shovel Knight 64 type era game instead of the SNES type era that they did.
I mean, we have a 3D character model for Shovel Knight.
Yeah, you see, he's gonna pop up in Yooka-Laylee.
Yeah. I almost said Yooka-Laylee.
Yeah, and then the final game I played was Splatoon 2.
Nice. So how do you like? So you're the only one here of us who's ever played Splatoon.
Okay. So I was wondering if you play. I knew you definitely didn't.
No, I've never played Splatoon.
I know. I listened to that commercial and I bought an amiibo.
No. Okay. You have an amiibo for Splatoon?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Has a problem, and I don't know why you're shocked.
Hey.
Oh wait, no. I think I sold it after the great amiibo purge of 2016.
Okay.
I
That
did
makes
sell
sense. So Splatoon. I never played Splatoon before. This was my first time with it. Now they didn't do like an open beta weekend. they did what they were calling a global test fire, and there were 7 sessions of 1 hour time chunks throughout the weekend.
They did that with the first game too, I believe.
Yeah, and so I was explaining to him. I was talking to a friend who's going to school down for game development. I was like, why would you do this? I'm like, just explain to me why the fuck you would do this. He's like, only Nintendo would do this because they don't know how online works.
Yeah.
And I'm like,
sounds about right.
He's like, there's no benefit. He goes like, because if something's going to crash, it's going to crash no matter what. So
yeah.
Well, Nintendo is also, you have to remember that is a company that still wants total control over their things. So the idea that they have an unfinished product out there that people can play, say for like 2 days, but whenever they want to,
like scares the
and
shit
if
out
something
of them.
happens, that terrifies them. So that's probably why they did that.
So in the beta, there was 1 game mode, 2 maps, and 4 weapon types you could choose from. The 4 weapon types were like your standard gun, like splatter, like a kind of like a pistol almost type thing. The one was the roller, which I believe is new to this game.
No, the roller was in the first game.
Oh, it is? Okay.
Yeah.
There was something, one of them was new. I can't remember which one.
I think the dualies are new.
Okay, the dual. Okay, so then there was a sniper shot one, and then there was the dual where you can kind of fly up and kind of squirt like underneath you while shooting enemies. So the first time I played, I didn't fully get it because it's like it's a multiplayer shooter, but you're also, the main focus isn't killing the other team. It's really just painting the level in your way. And it took the second time for it to actually click, but I had a lot of fun playing it. Like it was,
it's basically turf war.
It's turf war. It's different too.
Yeah.
I think that's something that's cool about it, is the fact that they wanted this third person like multiplayer game and they went a completely out of left field direction with it. I think is really interesting. And the fact that I think like I didn't have any connection issues. I know some people were saying they did. So I've been getting very lucky with Switch problems that other people are having, but no connection problems. Actually playing the game was actually really fun. Playing it, this is another thing where, and I've talked to Charlie about this before, like playing it on my TV is fine, but like the fact that just having it like handheld, like available access anytime I want is
optimal.
Yeah, is what makes it feel so good. Like it felt fine playing on the TV.
Did it run relatively similarly?
It felt exactly the same. Like I think like everything, I think it just looks better on the smaller screen, but that's also just because I think the size of it is
how was
compact.
Did you use the gyro or did you use a stick?
No, fuck that. I turned that off. That was garbage.
I know people who swear, especially for Splatoon, swear by the gyro.
Fucking ridiculous. That is horrible.
No, gyro is going to become the ideal way to play.
They open
shooters.
up and they give you a tutorial and they're like, oh, here's the gyro. I'm like, oh my God, are you fucking kidding me?
I think you guys are crazy.
I'm not totally against it. I think it's great as a in the remakes for was it in Wind Waker
and the
Twilight
3DS
Princess.
And the 3DS games.
Yeah, like in those games, especially the 3DS ones, it was a godsend.
Aiming,
I liked it. I liked it in Zelda. I liked aiming like through the binoculars with it. I liked actually using the bow and arrow with it.
But not as like shooter type situation.
Not in that type of situation do I ever want to have to do this with the controller trying to aim at the
I think
person.
the option for finer control. So say you have the ability, say you're playing a shooter like an FPS and you have the ability to use a stick, but then if you want to, for finer control, you can just move your controller.
I feel like it would be the other way around.
Well, that's how it is in Zelda. You can kind of get to where you need to go with the bow and arrow, and then kind of just like make it precise. Yeah. But yeah, no, I don't like it in Splatoon whatsoever. I thought that was a really weird thing to throw you right in and be like, oh, here's a gyro. It's like no. Give me standard controls and then we'll be cool. Yeah, so it actually made me officially excited for Splatoon 2. I don't know when it's coming out. I think it's still summer is their plan. I'm hoping that we hear something about it this week because
June.
Most
right?
What?
That game is coming out.
It just says summer.
For some reason I assumed it was June.
I mean, it could be June, but no, they just said summer, and I'm hoping most studios after a beta weekend usually come out the following week and say something about it. So hopefully we hear something about the actual release date soon.
Well, it is Nintendo. I don't know.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Otherwise, do you want to take a little break?
Yeah.
Sounds
good. We'll come back with the news. Hey guys, it's your host Joe. Thanks for checking out the show this week. If you haven't already, head over to iTunes and subscribe to the show. We love to hear from you. Send an email to podcastdemastered@gmail.com with any comments or questions. We may even discuss your email live on the show. To stay up to date, follow us on Twitter @DemasterCast. For our live streams, you can go to twitch.tv/podcastdemastered. And lastly, our video content can be found at youtube.com/podcastdemasteredshow. Now, let's get back to the show. All right, we are back. Let's jump into the news. We got 4 stories today.
That's a thick, meaty.
That sounded like the Beyond noise. Like from
Pastrami
way back beyond.
I think I did. I did it kind of subconsciously.
Yeah, I know.
Please don't sue us, IGN. That was all subconsciously.
Damn, that was a throwback right there.
Big, thick, meaty pastrami sandwich worth of news, I think.
First news story today. Destiny 2 was announced by Bungie.
It was actually announced.
Yeah, no, it was officially
after
announced.
leaking.
Yeah, like it leaked earlier in the week late last week with posters, and then Jason Schreier from Kotaku pretty much said, yeah, the announcement's imminent. Misreading a text, thinking that it was going to be announced the same day of, and then he was like, totally misread that text. So sorry, coming soon. And then today it was just images.
Yeah, they tweeted, "Hey, Destiny 2 is real.
Yeah,
here's a logo."
It was basically
that's all we have to go on. Really.
Yeah, the last city fucking annihilated with the
traveler
above it. There's theories going around that there's a second traveler there.
Well, there was a theory for Destiny 1 that the traveler, and basically if you read the Grimoire cards, apparently, I remember it implied that the traveler wasn't necessarily the force for good that people thought it was.
Yeah.
So it'd be cool if they kind of leaned into that and used that as the focal point, where maybe in Destiny 2 you are fighting against the traveler.
Yeah, so we will probably have more information in the coming weeks. Their last major update launches yesterday when this show goes live. So
you know what? Then you have your justification for losing everything. Think about it. The Traveler, something happens with the Traveler. Isn't like all your stuff with the Guardians, that's all tied to the Traveler, right?
Oh yeah, ghosts and everything.
So something happens with the Traveler, and that in turn is their basically their ex machina to allow it to be like, oh, you lost all your progress, to basically Metroid you.
Yeah, I don't think they really need like an in-story excuse for that.
But that would totally, I think, work.
Yeah, but sometimes like that stuff kind of feels like shoe-in.
If it works, then
if it works, it works. But
yeah,
I'm fine with it just being, oh, it's the next game, so you start over. But actually, I was joking about that being a news story, and then you kind of sounded shocked that it was actually announced.
Yeah.
I was like, oh yay! So yes, Destiny 2, pretty much.
It's exactly what you think it is. Yep. There's the Destiny there, and there's a 2 there. There's no subtitle or anything. It's just Destiny 2.
Can't wait.
Which is a dumb name for a game, but
it's fine.
It's Destiny, so I'll play it.
Yeah, they had to get it away from the expansions.
Yeah, I think the 2 kind of cements it as, hey, this is the next thing.
First actual news story. PlayTonic they haven't done it yet, is going to remove JonTron from their Yooka-Laylee game.
Mm.
JonTron, and we won't get into like too much of the political side, but JonTron recently spoke about his personal views about immigration, ethnicity, and nationalism, and pretty much he came under fire for a lot of it because a lot of it was more extreme right type ideas.
Yeah,
and obviously
the kind you're not allowed to share.
It's more than like an SJW thing, and it was veering on some borderline white supremacist stuff.
I would like to see what it was before I'd make that call.
Yeah. As someone who watched it, it was more borderline, kind of just unnecessary. Like you don't. For me, like for the stuff he does now, I don't watch his videos all the time. Every once in a while, someone would tell me to watch one of his videos. Okay, should we keep going?
Yeah.
Someone would tell me to go watch one of his videos, and like I'll watch it. But I feel like he, like, as someone who seems to be catering to a younger generation with a lot of their videos, with the type of like humor, even though like I find some of stuff funny too. I'm not saying he's only to kids.
Yeah, no.
I just feel like you shouldn't have posted that type of video going on. Like, even as someone who identifies himself as more of,
you can be right leaning, you can be conservative. That's fine. But like I think we live in a political climate where like there needs to be differing opinions. But
like if I say I'm
and you know us, like we are definitely like not the most PC people out there, you know, like. But the stuff he was saying, and I looked into it, was like almost some white supremacist sounding stuff, and that's where you get into okay, you know, that maybe you really shouldn't be. Not only saying that stuff, even thinking that stuff.
Yeah, so I took more of the stance of just like, all right, I don't think you really need to say that kind of stuff, especially for like the stuff that you cover anyway on a daily basis. Exactly. I don't think there's any reason to jump into that, you know, that type of that situation. But they did release a statement PlayTonic, and they said JonTron is a talented video presenter who we were initially 2 years ago happy to include as a voice contributor in our game. However, in light of his recent personal viewpoints, we had made the decision to remove JonTron's inclusion in the game via a forthcoming content update. So I think they handled it well.
Yeah, I think they did. I think it's totally fair. It's also totally their right as the developers to do that.
Yeah, and like and someone I follow, Boogie to 988, has been commenting on Twitter a lot about it because everyone just wants to pile on JonTron. It's kind of the kick him while he's down mentality. And like, even though I might not agree with what he was saying, I don't agree in just kicking someone while they're down. And Boogie has been taking the stance of, I don't agree with JonTron. That doesn't mean I'm not going to talk to JonTron. Like we can have different opinions and still work together or communicate. But you also have to realize, like, you have to, when you say certain things, like, other companies are allowed to have the opinion to remove you from projects
that's
they're
totally
working
their
on.
prerogative.
So,
and I'm not sure. I had to step out of the room because of a phone call, but like, I'm not sure if you guys mentioned the PewDiePie and the Disney thing.
Oh no, yeah.
It's not totally similar, but it's just kind of, you can get dropped, if you do something stupid.
Yeah.
Well, especially like Disney, like for the PewDiePie thing I don't think we ever really talked about it on the show, but with Disney going, we're going to have to drop you, because if they don't drop them, then they get the mob mentality of, well, now you still have this.
Yeah. And you also have to look at the audience that they cater to, you know what I mean? And you mentioned this before, like if you have children watching your stuff, maybe you kind of want to just on social media, like just be careful about what you say. You know what I mean? I think that's totally like fair. Like if you think about like who your audience caters to, there'd be like Big Bird coming out and like saying something anti-Semitic, or the guy who plays Big Bird.
That's true, but there's also a difference. There's two versions of that though. There's the person who caters to specifically a younger audience, and then there's JonTron, who doesn't really cater to anybody. He kind of just put his videos out there.
Yeah.
And I personally don't think he needs to cater to anybody, but also, like, you could easily. So here's the thing, like, I believe everybody should share their views, and I don't think anybody should immediately be called Nazi and this and that just because of that view.
No,
I think there's obviously room for we do it all the time. We have our views and our beliefs, and we're great friends, and we're not assholes, and we talk about it all the time.
You can talk about your opinions and not fucking hate each other over it.
And for 100 weeks, we've done this show, and we're great friends, but you just got to do it right.
Yeah.
And when you put something out on the internet, it's out of your hands.
And then when it's there, you can't scrub it.
Yeah,
and that's what I was saying. I was like, it's Playtonic's right to remove him from the game. I also think it's his right to like say what your opinions are, but I also don't think it's the right of the unknown people on Twitter and of the YouTube comment section of, but just to be fair, like going after people in particular.
You have a right to say what your opinions are, but then you also leave yourself open to criticism or disagreement because of that. You know what I mean?
But you know that. Though.
I think any adult knows that. It's a delicate balance.
Absolutely. But that's why I was bringing up Boogie, because it's like, I like that side of the argument. People were going after Boogie too, be like, oh, how are you defending him? He was like, I don't agree with what he said, but you can have a fucking conversation with someone.
Exactly. And that's kind of the problem. The internet's very shaky on having a conversation about anything these days.
So, I think if you like read too much in the internet, you're gonna go down. You're gonna give yourself a headache.
Of course.
Yeah, I don't do it anymore. I can't do it.
I find myself doing it, just reading through like Twitter mentions of some people, and I'm just like,
what am I doing here?
I lose my mind.
I need to go outside and do something in the fucking real world. This is all bullshit.
Let's move on. Nintendo apparently kind of has an explanation for the Left JoyCon issue. They're saying it's not a design issue and there's no widespread repair replacement underway, but it's more of a manufacturing variation, which resulted in the wireless interference.
This sounds like a lot of talking around the fact that it was a design issue.
Yeah, well,
to me, it kind of seems like people were really going out of their way to make it like they are walking 20 feet away behind a wall, shaking the damn thing and shoving it in the toilet, and then saying, "Oh, it doesn't work."
Well, again, it's
Nintendo.
That whole internet thing where you want to have your Joy-Con broken, be part of the conversation.
Yeah, like I've been saying for
just
weeks,
like you want to lick your cartridge to be part of the conversation.
I was actually really fucking curious, and it really didn't taste like anything.
Now, I've been saying I've been really lucky. I've had no Left JoyCon issue, and I've had
because you are the unvocal minority.
Yeah, probably.
And
or majority.
Yeah. I was trying to find the right combination of those two words.
Yeah, it's true.
So, and I've had none of the scratch issues. And like at first, when I first heard about the scratch issue, I was putting my.
So wait, what is this now? What is the scratch issue?
some of the Switch docks are where you slide the Switch in is like a little tighter than some,
Okay.
which might also be a manufacturing variation,
Yeah.
quote unquote. And so like it being so close, there's these two little like they're supposed to be like pads, like so when it rests in, it will stay still.
Yeah.
And apparently like that's a little tighter, so when you're putting it in, it's not actually scratching the screen. It's like scratching like look on your phone like this kind of area when you slide it in. So it's not actually affecting the screen itself.
But the glass is getting
the glass on the sides.
But I think this doubles back to, we were talking about Assassin's Creed Unity earlier and Mass Effect Andromeda. This doubles back to a few issues happen, a few bugs happen. In this case, a few hardware issues, a few scratches. The vocal minority comes out about it. And obviously, it's a real grievance for it is a real grievance for that vocal minority. I'm not gonna,
exactly.
Make it a small issue. Like your screen scratches on your new device, that sucks. But at the same time, like that gets out, and then suddenly everyone has that problem. Whereas I don't think it's nearly as widespread as Twitter might have you believe.
Yeah,
exactly. So people took pictures because if you call Nintendo and talk and bring up the fact that you're having issues, they will do a repair and replace type thing with you. And so someone from, I want to say it's Kotaku, opened up the Joy-Con, took photos of the inside, closed it back up and sent it back to him. And then when they got it back, same serial number and everything. So it was the same Joy-Con. Literally all they did was put this like tiny little square of foam.
I think it was CNET because I was listening to the Beastcast today and Backlar was talking about it.
Yeah, see, I didn't listen this week because Dan Riker wasn't there. So
no, he was there.
Oh, really? I thought they said he wasn't. I thought in the description said he wasn't there. Oh, well, then I skipped last week's episode.
That's the whole running gag is that since he's been back in New York, they keep saying, welcome to New York for the first time on the show ever.
In the description, it made it seem like he wasn't there that week, so I just skipped it.
That's actually funny.
So it might have been CNET, yeah. So, it's just this little piece of foam that they put in there, and they're saying, like, from now on, any Joy-Cons manufactured, and apparently it was even just early on in manufacturing, some of them were missing that, so that's why not every Joy-Con is having this issue that people are having. So yeah, like I said, they don't want to see like a widespread release because I guess they don't want everyone sending in their left Joy-Con, especially if it doesn't need to be sent in.
Yeah, but
it won't be a problem going forward because they fixed in there.
That's good.
So in the 8 million,
I'm sure. I'm sure the next batch will probably be
exactly. It'll be gone. So nothing like the Red Ring of Death.
No, I don't. I think that was unprecedented. Or the what was it? When the PS4 came out, like 0.4% of people had like their HDMI things bent, and it wouldn't send an image to their television.
I remember right before the PS4 came out, there was a PS4 in like a showcase, and it was blinking red. And because the person who turned it on put it in the showcase, and then there was no ventilation in there.
Oh, so
it was literally just heating
suffocating.
up. Yeah. And I remember that picture was going around like, oh, the PS4 is having overheating problems, and it comes out, it's like, no, that's not a fucking issue because we're not.
That's fake news.
Yeah, fake news. I get all my news directly from
Facebook.
Yeah, Facebook.
Legit sources.
My aunts and uncles.
TheOnion.com.
No, the best is when you see people reblog or repost an Onion article and then get outraged about it. I can't believe this is happening.
I had a coworker who just recently friended me on Facebook, and she shared one of those, and I was just like, oh my god.
What was it? This is the best example of Facebook fuckery and stupidity. This is like a few years ago, but basically there was a picture going around with Steven Spielberg with the Triceratops, like the robot dinosaur that they use on the set of Jurassic Park, and he was lying next to it. And basically this picture went around Facebook, and they were like legit posts of, I'm never supporting Steven Spielberg again. He was poaching Triceratops.
Yeah, like poaching animals. He thought they were killing animals. Yeah, it was like
sitting next to a robot dinosaur that was used on the set of Jurassic Park.
I am dumbfounded.
Yeah, it's as bad as you think.
By the lack of intelligence on this planet. Take me to Andromeda as soon as possible.
Then you can. I'm sure it only gets better from there.
Yeah, then I can have those stupid Facebook posts plus a couple glowing mushrooms.
Then you can have fucking people staring at you like this.
Tom's eyes are wide open.
Yeah. They do that. One of the characters, so it's no joke. And like, I don't want to harp on things because I do like it, but one of the characters, Cora, the first time I see her, she walks through the door like this, her eyes wide open.
Wide open.
Fucking ridiculous.
Somewhat horrifying.
Next news story. The next Call of Duty name might have been outed. YouTuber the Family of Gamers posted a video showing leaked images
So
of a
this
new Call of
sounds like
Duty.
an unlegit source, but worth noting,
Yeah.
this guy leaked Infinite Warfare last year.
Infinite Warfare,
Okay.
and people in the where I got the actual story from IGN, they said they contacted their sources and they kind of backed this one up. So
Okay.
apparently the name is just simply Call of Duty World War II.
That works.
I like it.
Yeah.
I know what this game is already.
Yeah. There was showing of a screen that had the logo on it, and then like what their
Steelbook is gonna look.
it looked like they were showing it to like people who like store owners who would buy the products because they were showing like the Steelbook collect like editions and everything that they would sell. And yeah, so I mean, cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
yeah, no,
I might
that's-
buy this one. You know, I'm
I'm
glad I skipped
absolutely
the last couple.
100% down for that. Battlefield 1 for me last year was so refreshing. It's such a breath of fresh air. And in a market of shooters, like futuristic shooters, I feel had grown sterile, and
Yes.
modern shooters, I'm more than okay with developers going back and using historical wars and historical context as settings for their video games. And I think, you know, there was a period of time where we were over inundated with World War II
Mhm.
shooters, but that was 10, 11 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm totally ready for like another good big AAA World War II game. And Call of Duty was the king of that up until Call of Duty, you know, World at War was their last World War II shooter.
I cannot wait for like 5-6 years from now when we get Call of Duty Modern Warfare again.
You know,
It's all just
honestly,
gonna
I'm like,
come
I'm not-
full
I'm
totally plausible.
Because you know we're gonna be just as excited when that shit comes back around. And like
That being said, I'm
Is
down
that
for
what you
this.
think they're going to do? They're just going to go all the way back, and then they're just going to
I-
start moving forward in time
well,
again?
if say Battlefield and this Call of Duty World War II and they all start doing like historical stuff again, I can easily see them in a few years making a big deal of like we're going modern again because right then we'll be sick of World War II shooters
Yeah.
again. Like it's kind of
But
this
then the
weird back and
future in
forth.
Call of Duty, that Call of Duty Advanced Warfare shown off will be the now.
yeah.
no.
So what is modern?
Exactly.
What is modern? This is going to be developed by Sledgehammer Games again. It's their turn.
I think I said it best when I sent you guys the group text. I don't play Call of Duty multiplayer, but I'm totally gonna red box the shit out of this game and play the campaign.
Agreed.
Our final story of the day is about GameStop because they are closing 2 to 3%.
Maybe they should just GameStop.
No.
You know,
They're closing 2 to 3% of their stores worldwide. So I saw two numbers going around between 190 and 225
Okay.
stores. That is out of their 7,500 stores. So it's not the biggest hit.
There really aren't a lot of them. I mean, that's a lot. That's a big
Yeah.
number, but
shrinking number.
Yeah. So the CEO Paul Raines was talking about how their non-video game stuff is actually doing well. Like their
Is
collectible.
it?
Yeah, that's what
I
they
feel
said.
like I go in there and I don't go in there often, maybe like once every couple of weeks, and I see the same collectibles in there. Like I feel like they don't
Is
really move.
what about like does that include like the Simply Geek thing? That
Yeah,
they,
like
or
Think
no,
Geek
they
and
do,
stuff,
They,
yeah.
Think Geek and Simply Mac because they own like a chain of like fucking.
I think they
computer
were.
repair
I think
yeah,
he
they're
was
official
specifically talking
iPhone
about the Think Geek,
resellers.
the Think Geek stuff.
Yeah.
Specifically.
Okay.
But he also sent a quote, and this is kind of like, I would say, dumb quote of the month probably. Was the video game category was weak, particularly in the back half of 2016. Now, when you talk about game sales, that's kind of right, based on big games kind of underperforming. But he then continues on, particularly in the that's because the biggest names in gaming, PlayStation maker Sony and Xbox maker Microsoft, haven't updated their consoles in a while. So then I just also like to point out that this is not part of the quote, by the way. PS4 Slim, PS4 Pro, PSVR, and Xbox One S all came out last fall.
Yeah.
Like all released last fall.
You know what this sounds like to me? It sounds like he just straight up admitted that digital sales are bigger than they thought it was going to be.
That sounds plausible.
That sounds like he just admitted that, oh shit, we're essentially at a point now where we rely on hardware to make money in our store.
Yeah, like the thing, I think, I don't know if I told this on air last week, but I'm going away for the weekend, so I wanted to get a traveling case for the Switch. I went to GameStop just because I was out, and they have all the boxes on the shelf, so I grabbed one. I was like, oh, I wanted to get this case. He's
You
like,
actually take the box up?
yeah, because I wanted to.
I just
think
tell
it
him
would
what
have
I
been
want.
in the box or something.
No, because it was empty. Because I thought that what they had on the wall is the amount of stock they had.
Yeah.
So I pulled it up thinking they wouldn't want it back on the shelf.
Because you do that with the game boxes too, right? Like
Yeah.
you take the box off.
Oh,
the wall,
I
you
never
walk
take
it
the
up.
box off. I
Well,
just
when you're
walk
going
up.
for used games and stuff, I usually,
Yeah.
not
yeah,
new
it's
stuff,
different.
not the shrink wrap. But so I thought they wouldn't want it on the shelf, so that's what I thought it was. So I go there, and he's like, no, we don't have any we don't have any accessories in Nintendo. He's like, we get money for just leaving the stuff on the shelf to show what the products are. And I'm thinking, oh, okay, that's weird. Like, and then he goes like, yeah, we're not expecting to get another big shipment of accessory stuff until like April. I'm like, well, all right. And then I go on Amazon and was able to buy a case.
Do you have it now?
And got it within 2 days.
Yeah. Okay.
And I'm just like,
what the fuck?
the fuck? Like, I go to the store and like, I'm just like,
what is this place doing?
I
here?
think very clearly GameStop's on their way out.
Yeah.
I think they have a few more years left in them. But I think it's partially the fault of, not the fault necessarily, but partially because of the digital market growing bigger and
we
bigger.
only have about
But
1 year
also-
until your ultimate prediction comes true.
I'm just saying. But also, even more so than the digital market, being able to get games cheaper and not having to rely on used games, whether it be through Amazon Prime, through Best Buy, through Target. I think people would honestly rather go to these places than they would go to GameStop, because GameStop, I think, with their employee culture and the stuff we talked about a few weeks ago with the constant pushing of the Circle of Life stuff, I feel like they created kind of like almost a toxic space in their stores where people don't like going in there. Even when you go in there, it kind of has almost like this smell and feel of like a pawn shop now more than like a game store.
Right. I remember we had one in our local mall, and that place, I think it might have been where it used to be, the Planet X used to be.
Yeah.
And that fucking store always smelled like pizza and piss.
But here's the thing. I think game stores, like in particular, it's a dying breed because there's so many other ways to get game stores. It's the same thing with record stores, really, or comic book stores. Like they're in the same niche now where they're struggling. But the problem is game stores are essentially, at least in the US, GameStop. They have the monopoly on that. So like, yeah, and in some places you have a few mom and pop places. I know we had a Trade and Play a few years ago, which went out of business. But for the most part, it is all GameStop. Even in Red Bank, Red Devil Games was there.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but there were a few local places that GameStop either bought out or did such good business that it put these places out of business.
I remember. I'm trying to think. I'm like, because I know with obviously
but the market's totally changed now. Like it doesn't work like that anymore.
Yeah, for like stuff I play on, like the only thing I still plan on buying physical stuff is really my PlayStation. That's only because the download speed's really bad.
Yeah.
Oh, it's horrible.
But like Switch, I don't plan on buying those cartridges ever again. PC, obviously, I don't even have a disc drive in it. So
yeah, that's hilarious.
I mean, like, and that's primarily where I play my stuff is on the PC. So
I'm trying to. Like, besides the red box,
yeah,
I don't remember. I think Rock Band 4 was the last physical game I bought. And that might have been, like 70 weeks ago?
Yeah, mine was Last Guardian, because I went to the store to see if they... I had GameStop credit on a gift card or something for some reason, and I remember I went in there and I was trying to see if I could buy Dead Rising 4 digitally, like for the PC.
Yeah.
But they weren't selling codes.
We should have done a poll when was the last time you bought a physical disc. I'm curious to see if we're in some sort of minority.
Online, that gets people rowdy. People love their physical games. I've seen threads about like even implying that physical games might be going away, and it gets bloody.
Well,
Man, they must hate you.
You know what I saw this weekend? I saw a GameCube appreciation thread.
Yeah,
and like something about seeing those pictures of those game collections is something cool.
Oh yeah, it's cool.
But it's like going.
But something like this is enough for me. Like I've got an Xbox. I've got.
I think the last physical game I bought was. It was Resident Evil, because I traded Gravity Rush 2 to get Resident Evil.
Are you back to going digital on your PS4? Because I remember for a while you wanted to.
Yeah, I remember that too.
Yeah, I just after a while I was like, fuck, I'm not going to fuck. I can't
I don't want to go to GameStop.
See, my big thing is if I pre-ordered more, I'd be cool with it because it could pre-download.
Yeah.
But I've gotten further and further away from actually pre-ordering anything, waiting for the day of.
But the problem is I'm getting to a point that the same problem I had on my Xbox where it's like, I'm getting to a point where I have more games on this thing that I'm ever going to play.
That's why you just delete stuff.
I do.
Yeah.
I don't plan on buying a bigger hard drive for this.
Yeah.
I'm honestly okay just deleting shit off.
I think I've got like 200 gigs left on my PS4.
It came with a terabyte. I want to say right now it's like maybe half full.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I forgot. You even have the terabyte, so you're good. Yeah. I mean, yeah, the Switch has more than enough storage for me.
Yeah. You got
32 whole gigabytes.
Did you buy a...
Not yet. I
have a 64 gig SD card on my desk that I've had for 4 years, and I think it costs $20. Yeah,
no, they are really cheap. I think I'm going to buy like the 128. The biggest game I have on there is 1.3 gigs, so I don't need it right now.
Yeah.
No, I mean it's a...
Wait, Zelda? Oh no, Zelda's
Setsuna, because I
But-
have
Zelda's
Zelda.
like 13.
I was about to
Zelda's on
say,
the
yeah,
card.
Zelda's a
Zelda's
card.
13,
I forgot you had
yeah.
the physical version of that.
Yeah, that's the only physical thing I'll ever buy for that.
I refuse to believe that's 1.3 gigs.
Yeah, no, Setsuna's
Nintendo's good at
1.3.
optimizing. They're not that good.
Yeah, no, I mean it does suck for people that I know we bust Tom a lot about about a year and a half ago when you said like, oh, within 2 years.
I'll still stand by that. And it
Well,
wasn't a
then
year
you're
and a
still
half
wrong.
ago. It was like a year ago.
Okay, a
Okay,
year
so
ago.
a year ago.
Okay, so a year
That's
ago.
not too far.
I was trying to see if we wanted more time in between it, but
No.
So a year ago, yeah, like we busted you on that, but like eventually digital will take
Yeah,
over. Like it has
it's-
everything. Like it takes over music, and I think there'll always
music,
be that.
comic books.
I think it'll always be that niche that likes having the physical, and I think you'll always be able to get it in some way, probably through Amazon
They
though.
love their
Yeah.
new game smell.
Yeah. Also, does Target offer a like 20% discount? Like because you mentioned
No,
Target.
but Target does a lot of. They do buy two get one every
Yes,
so
I
often.
see, I
which
see
people
that
seem to really
pop
like,
up a lot.
which I never take advantage of because if you think about it, you're still spending $120.
Exactly. Yeah.
I remember for a few years I would hold off on some of the holiday games for that week in Target, like the first or second week in November they would
Yeah.
do it, and like they would even do, like brand new games were included in that. Like for a while it was coming when Call of Duty was happening, so I would always just get Call of Duty as my free game. But yeah, no. So yeah, if you're buying physical, mostly still,
Tom says you're done in a year.
yeah.
You're done.
I think you have a little more time than
Yeah.
that, but
Me too.
We'll be back next week.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Maybe.
I'll be fresh
know-
off the plane.
Yeah, just
7
going
days?
to Florida.
7 days, a few
Yeah.
hours. 7
Yeah,
days.
I'm gonna go watch wrestling.
I don't
Go
like
watch
you.
my wrestling shows.
Are you taking a plane by yourself like a big boy?
Yes, I am.
Oh,
I'm gonna play my Switch on there.
are you gonna? Is your mom gonna drop
So
you
you're
off?
really
by,
not a big.
is your mom?
Yeah.
You know, like what they do with the kids, where your mom drops you off by the airport
Well, yeah. 'cause
at the place, and then the flight attendants help you on the plane. Are
No.
they gonna be doing?
They're-
Are they gonna be doing that?
Except
for you?
help for Joe is them picking him up, and they're gonna walk him there just so that he doesn't
Well, he's
touch
on a
anything.
switch.
But yeah, no, she's dropping me off because we're not gonna fucking
Pay
pay
to
to have
park,
our
yeah.
car there. Like
That's
that's
dumb.
ridiculous. Yeah, no, I'm excited.
Just drive to Florida. It's an easy drive.
Yeah, it's only like 17, 18 hours.
No, it's not. It is not because Georgia is further away than Florida, and Georgia was 14 hours.
Tom, I have.
Georgia is further away than Florida.
Think about
That
what
might
you
have been
just
really
said
stupid.
and what was recorded on my
I
computer.
regret my words and deeds.
So now I'm not. So now I haven't said the dumbest thing in the show, and it only took like 80 weeks.
I just want to put in how far this trip is before we wrap
It's
up.
about 17 to 18 hours.
The drive down
Even
there.
still, that's not a bad drive.
It's a long drive.
I drove 14 hours.
I've done it too. I mean, I've driven
Yeah,
all the way out
15
to
and a half
Ohio.
hours. I'm not why would I drive 15 and a half hours? Put all that mileage on my car
Yeah.
for 2 days.
I think it's like 1,000 or so miles.
yeah, something like
or
that.
no, a couple hundred miles.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm not sure.
Yeah, no. At a certain point, it's not worth putting especially because I already drive a bunch. It's not worth putting the miles on my car.
Yeah.
We'll be back next week's episode 104. Twitter at DMastercast. Subscribe to
Twitch.
iTunes. All the good stuff. It's all
Twitch
in the,
Podcast Master,
Yeah, it's
even though
all-
we haven't streamed in like 3 weeks.
Yeah,
we need to get
it's-
back to streaming.
it's all in the plugs. So goodbye.
We'll see you then.
Bye.